In this video, I'm just going to show you some code chunk options. So we have a basic bit of code that I wrote up here. It's just generating some values and putting them into two variables, x and y. It's plotting them, and then down here, it's going to display these variables. So let's just see what this looks like when we knit this together. We'll get to a nice easy document. It's got the code, it's got my plot, then it shows me the x values coming here, then I get y, and I get the y values there. That's all the code's doing, nothing important. Now what I can do is I have some options I can throw inside these curly brackets here. First option I'm going to show you is this one called eval, which I can set equal to false. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it so I just display my code, but I don't actually run it. So I'll hit knit there, and what I'll get back is a document that's just got the code showing up, but it doesn't actually run anything. So if I have mistakes in there, I don't find that out. They just sit there and get displayed. Other options I have that I can throw inside this parenthesis, or these curly brackets I should say, is I have this option for echo, which I can set equal to false also. And what this will do is run my code, but it won't actually show me the code. So I get the plot, and I get the x values right here, and I get the y values, but I don't have any idea what they're associated with because I can't see the code. Other thing you can throw in here is an option called results, and then you can set results to several different things. I'm going to set it to hide, and what this will do is it will hide the results of my code for me. So I'll see the beginning of the code, and now it doesn't consider a plot to be a result, but then I get x and y down here. Those actually have results. Those I'm supposed to see the vectors showing up afterwards with all the numerical values, and I don't see that. They're being hidden from me. So that's what hide does for me. And then there's another option I can throw in here called hold. And if I knit this together, what it'll do is it'll hold all the results until all the code's been run, and then I'll get my results there. So I get my first bit there, then I get my plot, and now R doesn't consider a plot to be a result, so that shows up right away. But then I get down here to X and Y, and I don't have their values showing up right away. I first get the X values here, showing up in that spot, and then I get the Y values showing up in this spot. So they're held until after all the code is run. So that's the hold option there. Now, next thing I want to show you is something that pertains to the graphs that'll pop up there. So I'm going to take these out so we can clean this up a little bit. And if I do this, you'll see there's this option for figure height and figure width. And so I can set some numerical values to them. And right now it's set to 9 and 6. These are supposed to be in inches, but basically it's setting roughly the size for what's coming up there, and it's going to get you a certain kind of a ratio of one side to the other. Might not be exactly 9 and 6, but it's going to be big. And what I want to show you is I'll copy and paste this code twice and change those options so we can see what's going to happen here. I'll set this to 4, and I'll set this one to 4, and I'll go ahead and close this so we can refresh the window. And now when I run this bit of code, I should get two graphs. And you're looking at this and you see the first bit of code, but you don't see a graph like we did before. That's because this is a very big graph, and in Word it doesn't want to have a picture sort of running off the end. So if I come to this second page, that's where I get the big graph. And then I get the next chunk of code, and then I get the smaller graph. You notice this one's long and slightly wide, and this one's more squarish. That's because of the different widths and heights I used there. Now, one last thing to make note of is when I write this code, I can put in more than one of these options at a time. I don't just have to do one of them. I just have to separate them with a comma in there. So I could, if I want to here, do comma and do eval equals false. Actually, that's kind of a silly one to do there, especially if I have the widths there. So I'll do echo equals false. And then this one down here, I guess I'll just leave that like it is, and I'll knit this together. And so with the first one, I don't see any of the code, I just get the plot. For the second one, since I didn't change the echo value, I still see the code and I get the plot. So those are some options you can throw into the code chunks there for controlling what's going on inside them. There's other options you have, but these are sort of the main ones I wanted you to see.